How's it going, guys and geeks? Welcome back to the Geek Critique Show. My name is Dakota.
And I'm Jen.
And someone asked us whether or not we think Solo: A Star Wars Story will beat out Avengers: Infinity War in the worldwide box office or even in the domestic US box office. And I just don't see it happening. And we'll try to break down why. I mean, it's pretty obvious why Infinity War is going to top Solo in the box office. But let's actually break down some of the numbers and come up with that together. Before we get there, let's just talk a little bit about like the backlash with The Last Jedi. I mean, it was
weird.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. We were talking about it actually a little bit ago, and it's like reviewers hyped it up, and I remember hearing that it was the best Star Wars film ever. Better than the originals. Like, right. That amazing. So when we all went to see it, we thought this was going to be the best thing since whatever the thing was before sliced bread. And, you know, here we are.
To be fair, we both enjoyed the film. We've both seen it several times. I've seen it 4 times. I think you said you saw it 3 times?
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah, I didn't, like, hate on it. Like, some people really hated it. I was kind of neutral.
Yeah, there were scenes that we didn't like. There were parts that we didn't like, but that's the way art is. There's always going to be something you're not entirely thrilled with. The actual numbers for The Last Jedi kind of speak for themselves when it comes to the box office itself. And now this has to be tempered with the fact that this is still in the theaters as we know it, but The Last Jedi currently only has around 1.3 something billion dollars in total worldwide gross versus the 2 billion that Star Wars The Force Awakens had. Now, there's several things there. Force Awakens was kind of in that...
It was like the first Star Wars film in a long time, so everyone was like really pumped.
Right. It definitely had that draw to it. I mean, people needed to see this film. It was one of those... It almost was a gimmick. Yeah. Kind of like with Avatar, that they had the gimmick of like true 3D with 3D glasses. Yeah. It finally worked in theaters and it looked great. With this, people saw it several times. It reached 2 billion in the worldwide gross. That's a crazy number to beat, and Last Jedi probably was never going to make that number. But seeing that it's about 600 million less currently than what The Force Awakens totally made, that has to kind of be factored into the fact that people likely didn't see it multiple times.
Yeah.
Or most people that would have didn't, because they didn't care for it. And especially because of the bad backlash that it had, especially with YouTube culture, unfortunately. It's gotten to the point where one person says something negative, another person says another thing negative, and then it just kind of rolls down the hill, and then everyone hates it. It's the worst thing ever, and it should have never been done. This director should be crucified. It kind of gets out of hand.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like you said, it's like this person doesn't like it and says one thing, but then the next person doesn't like it and says 2 things, and the next person doesn't like it and says 3 things, and suddenly the whole movie's been dismantled and torn apart.
And disqualified.
Yeah.
That said, it can't be denied that the press for The Last Jedi was bad after the fact.
Yeah.
Whether you liked it or disliked it, it can't be argued. So going into Solo, people are going to be thinking about that bad press because it isn't even 6 months until, like, between films. Between The Last Jedi and Solo: A Star Wars Story. So Solo's riding on bad press currently. Solo was never going to make sequel money. I don't personally think Solo was ever going to make anywhere close to sequel money, which with both sequels it's averaged out to 1.6 billion. But even if it makes 1.3 billion, which is what The Last Jedi made, that would be fantastic for the film. Let's just use that as a high gauge for what Solo could potentially make. But realistically, it's going to be closer to Rogue One, which only made about $1 billion. Which, only $1 billion, yes, that's a lot of money. They made a lot of money on Rogue One, and I'm sure they will make their money back with Solo: A Star Wars Story. I mean, you can't not make money on a Star Wars film. But we did see the trailers for Solo: A Star Wars Story, and what were your initial thoughts?
On Solo?
Yeah.
Oh, I've said it. I don't think the film should be made. As soon as I heard that they were making a Solo film, I wasn't happy. I don't think that you should take such an iconic character and give him a whole backstory. I think they would have been... There are so many characters in the Star Wars universe that they could have made a film about. Why, like, one of our favorites that's harder to replicate? And a lot of people, like, when we did the reactions, the trailer reactions, were like, well, you're trying to replicate Harrison Ford. Yes and no. I mean... Like, how attached is the actor to the character? You guys were saying stuff like James Bond and
characters
Kirk,
who are known
for changing the roles.
And when it comes to Kirk, actually, I just want to make a point. Like, that's a alternate timeline. People are different people in that timeline.
Exactly. So, and that's what makes it kind of complicated, because it's like, yeah, I love Harrison Ford, but I also think that a lot of what makes Han Solo so great is how mysterious he is. That's like his whole thing, is that he's like the mysterious bad guy that you're like, why do I love him? I don't know. Yeah. Will I ever know? Well, now they're trying to explain to me why I love him, and it's going to make me not, love this guy.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous waters, especially because I've always thought of Han Solo as the character that complements the other characters. He kind of rounds out the trilogy of characters, the trinity of characters: Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford, or Luke, Leia, and Han. I think that's his role. He was created to fill that gap.
But I just think when they, like, any show and stuff, when they overdo the person's backstory, it doesn't appeal to me, especially characters like that I think are better off mysterious. Like I said, I think, if you had a Lando movie that focused on Lando, and then you had Han around, but not like great. The focus, I think that would have been much better. I thought a lot of the direction that they were going in seemed pretty cool. I just, literally, from the seed of the notion of a Star Wars Han Solo film, I was unhappy. So maybe no one should listen to my opinion today.
Perhaps. Regardless, we also have to talk about the other contender in the room, Infinity War. We always knew this movie was coming. We always wanted this movie. We have finally seen trailers for this film, or a single trailer, and then a Super Bowl TV spot. It looks fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's so far everything that we've ever wanted from an Infinity War movie. We've seen Thanos. I kind of wish he was wearing a helmet. He kind of looks like a big thumb to me without the helmet. But it's a film that we've always wanted versus a solo movie, which not many people wanted. When you ask people like what they want from a Star Wars spin-off movie, no one ever really says Han Solo.
Yeah.
But I digress. It's still a Star Wars movie. It's still going to make a lot of money. But will it make Infinity War money? Let's take a look at some of the Avengers worldwide grosses that they've had. The first Avengers film made about $1.5 billion, and the second $1.4 billion. Now, the gap between those films isn't nearly as much as the gap between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. Is it more likely that Infinity War will top those two? It literally combines everything that we love about Marvel into one film.
The hype levels for Infinity War are so high right now. Like, everybody's just dying to see it. Like, I don't know anyone who's not like,
it's literally
Infinity War. And like, I'm so pumped. Like, I'm worried because I'm like, I feel like one of the main characters is gonna die and I'm gonna cry. But I'm like so hyped for that movie. It's gonna be amazing. Whereas I don't hear that same level of hype. Yeah. The alternative.
When it comes to Infinity War, it's kind of everything we've ever wanted.
Yeah.
Which, and it's the culmination of 10 years and 18 films worth of storytelling. But yeah, between the characters, between the settings, you're going to see a reference to pretty much everything in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And it's going to be huge. People are going to definitely see that opening weekend. I mean, we just saw Black Panther this weekend do crazy box office numbers. It has the 5th highest opening weekend of all time, and nobody expected that. Actually, that's not true. One person expected it in our comment section of our first trailer reaction for it. They said this is going to break all the records, and they were totally right. It has the best legs of any Marvel film to date by its almost first week on the market, basically. It's doing crazy good. It also has, I think, the highest Rotten Tomato score of any Marvel film. If anything, I think Black Panther will be more of a threat to Infinity War's total accumulation of gross than Solo will.
I don't know about that, but just in general, though, because of, think about it, it's Infinity War.
I understand what Infinity War is, but
it's Infinity War.
There's no way Black Panther doesn't gross at least $1 billion. I think it'll do better than Rogue One. I think it'll do better than Solo, a Star Wars story, definitely. I actually just remembered that Solo is actually coming out a couple weeks after Infinity War, which means it will be taking away some of the ticket sales of Infinity War. Oh, that's
true, actually.
So we also have to tie that into that. That said, the first 2 weeks are when a film makes the most of its money, so it's not really competing that much.
But still.
But that month is definitely going to be all Disney.
Maybe you won't get as many people rewatching because they want to go and see Solo.
Probably.
Like if I know, oh, I'm going to see Solo, it's like, okay, how often? No, it's not true. I go to the movies a lot. I was going to say, how often could I go to the movies? No, we're always at the movies.
That's true. Like if you know that this is the start of the summer movie season, and you realize that in a few weeks' time, oh, I'm going to be spending X number of tickets worth of money in the next few weeks for my family, you probably won't go multiple times to see this film. Versus, say, a film like Black Panther, which is in February, which doesn't have
a lot of competition.
It doesn't have any competition, so if you're not going to the theaters for a long time anyway, you might as well see it again, you know? I'll be surprised, actually, if Infinity War doesn't top 1.7. 1.7 billion, that's my guess for Infinity War.
Are you expecting me to guess? I'll say 1.8.
What do you guys think Infinity War will do? Do you think it'll top a Star Wars film? Let us know in the comment section down below. But we definitely think it will. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And definitely check out these other Marvel videos right here, especially the timeline video, which is blowing up right now. And there's so many new subscribers. So thank you all for tuning in again to see us ramble here at Geek Critique. And we'll have a good one. Wait.
And you have a good one.
Yes.